that to people that are not Nigerian or African.
Mm.
It's like a title that is a title that is given to you in where you're from. If
Okay.
you if you've made many achievements or you've done, or you brought, you've done a lot of charitable things or whatever. The town where you're from, they give you a title to commemorate your achievement for
Mm.
that community. And so my friend got a title in his village. So I went to celebrate with him, and then there was a remembrance for, one of the guys. Coincidentally, this is my friend who got title. His dad, his uncle is a former Nigerian general. He and his uncle and Buhari were classmates. So he's
Okay.
very, very high ranked Nigerian general who passed
So,
away 5 years ago. So
uh,
they had a remembrance for him as well. A Nigerian hero,
mm.
fought in the Civil War and things like that. So I
Oh,
was
great.
excited to be around him and
Oh,
honor his memory and things like that. And then
yeah.
I went for another wedding in a different village
Nice.
in Abia State. So
So, so you
I went
were
to
not
the whole
just
state.
in the major towns of the southeast. You also visited the villages as well.
Yes, I was mostly in the villages actually because
Oh.
that's where that's where all the exciting things happen. I saw like a lot of I, a lot of the culture, the masquerades. They had a lot of events. So I went to all those events as well. It was a
Okay.
good experience for me to learn more about my country and learn more about our culture, our
All
very
right,
diverse
all right, guys.
culture.
We'll dive into it some more. May the soul of the departed rest in peace, and may we live longer, happier, and healthier life. All right, guys. Before we start, I have not released. Let me just put the graphic in now. I'm sorry, guys. We are amateurs at this point. So the graphic in a second. Okay, welcome back, guys. Well, today we have a few topics lined up. I promise it's going to be very interesting. The first topic that we have today is going to be Kamaru Usman, his visit to Nigeria, and what he had done in Nigeria and what it means to Nigeria, basically. So Kamaru Usman, one of the biggest news out of his travels is that he helped set up a gym in Lagos State University, which was widely reported. And the MMA gym, there was a foundation that was laid, and well, apart from that, there was also the show. Oh, sorry, guys, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. You see, this is one of the problems of going live. If I was editing this, I would just do post production and I would just cut this rambling off. But, anyways, so there was a big MMA event, the first pro MMA event, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and it was a success. If you did not catch our review about it, we did a review, me, myself, and Farouk sometime last week. But what you don't know is that Mayua was there front and live. He watched everything in person. He met Kamaru Usman in person, and yeah, we would hear a bit of that from Mayua himself. But before we revisit the review of the MMA Pro event, Mayua, can you please tell me what you think about the impact of what Kamaru Usman is doing or what Kamaru Usman has done to collaborate with the uh, Lagos State University, right? LASU, right? Or was it LSU?
So last week it was Unilag. This is Unilag.
Oh, sorry, it's Unilag, University
University
of
of Lagos.
Lagos.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So,
Yes.
what would you say? How did that catch you by surprise, or did you know it was going to happen? How calculated is the move? I just want to hear your thought around the whole
Um,
development.
it's tricky because I'm happy that Usman is in Nigeria. Obviously, I was happy that I'm happy that he was here, and he's trying to expand because he's genuinely trying his best to do things that will set up the future talent in MMA in Nigeria here. Um, I think that his idea of, because I watched as well when he explained his reasoning behind going to Unilag on with Harris's podcast, with Harris's page, there's the Anatomy of a Fighter, the Motherland Diaries. He was explaining that in America they have college sports, college football, college basketball, whatever, and that's why like American players in their sports are hard to beat globally. So if you think about the Olympians and like, American Olympians, every American sport, they always have guys at the highest level, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Olympics, they win the most medals, they're the best in basketball, things like that, and it's because they start playing in a competitive setting from like from young to like secondary school to university. Right? So his idea with Unilag was to do it in a way where like the students when they go to school they can train MMA so that they can kind of have a so they can kind of develop that talent and develop competition from when they're in school. The issue with that is in America there's a feeder system. So you start from like I think it's called Kiwi when you're like 7 or 8. Something like if you follow football in the UK as well. There's like under 10s, under 12, under 9s, under 7, to under 15, 16, 19, 21, before you get to the first team. So that system is more holistic from when you have like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, all the way to when you become a pro. I think it's tricky for him to start in Unilag because those guys are already, I mean, they're still young enough to enter the sport, don't get me wrong. Um, but I think that for me, it's interest. It's a good idea, open the space, and I hope that they open that space and there's a gym there because so that people can come and use the space. But I think that he has to focus on it very heavily so that people can be attracted to do MMA. I think that's the key is people need to actually be attracted enough to go to the gym and say, hey, I want to train MMA, I want to fight, I want to, I want to I want to learn my striking, jiu-jitsu, things like that. And they have to have coaches that are dedicated as well that will be coaching at those gyms because the building itself is just a building until there's what makes it the gym is the coaches that are there and the training that is there that they can get, So I think it's still to be seen how it will play out. I like the idea. Um, I feel like he could have done a bit of a more grassroots campaign that will target a different demographic of people. But also, it's still good. I did it. It's a great idea, great. I just hope that it works out and it can follow it up effectively, so that we can start getting those talents developed as soon as we can.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you a question real quick about the Nigerian factor. Me and you were both Nigerians, and we do know that things don't really go as smoothly as we always assume them to go. So in the sense that there we saw some bricks that were laid out, and I know
I
how.
think that brick was. To be fair, it looked like it looked ceremonial. I don't think
Yeah,
it
it's
was like
ceremonial. Yeah. So I was trying to get to
actually.
that. I saw some bricks were laid out, and then we do know that the Nigerian factor can easily kill your morale or your motivation when you want to actually set up something. You understand? So, do you think that Kamaru Usman and his team they are determined enough to ignore the Nigerian factor and make this MMA gym a success?
Truly, if you ask me my thoughts right now, and me and you have spoken about these things, and I've been very vocal about my reservations about the whole thing that has been going, like with his trips and coming back to Nigeria, things like that. I think if Usman went to the national team wrestling coach, right, went to the boxing gyms, and from there he brought them together and started an MMA gym, that's better because I've been heavily into the boxing in Nigeria now. I'm going to meet with the wrestling coach as well in a few days when I go back to Canada. These guys are passionate about like their sports individually. I think what Usman should focus on doing was bringing those guys together, the wrestling, the boxing, the kickboxing. Those guys have a very strong passion for their individual disciplines. I think going to do a new separate thing is going to make the job harder, and he needs a lot of morale to be able to follow through with what his plan is now.
So sorry to cut you off, but are you thinking?
I'm not confident.
Yeah. So are you
Sorry,
thinking that? Are you thinking that like in the let's assume that the gym is actually standing in Unilag, right? So do you think there would be a barrier where the actual people that are motivated to join MMA would have some interference with the facility rather than like students that might not be too interested? So do you think there will be something like that going on?
I think so. I think, man, thank God you're Nigerian as well. So the bureaucracy is too much here. So I feel like you end up being more than what it's supposed to be. That's what I'm saying. The key for him is to put competent people that the key is passion. And even with the MMA, like with the fighting, which we'll get to later, it's passion. If people are passionate about the sport, the people that he puts in charge, if they have passion about the sport, then they'll try their best to make it work. But if you guys are just administrators, like all those guys that were with him that did the thing, I don't think any of them is an MMA fan or a passionate MMA person. So they're just like maybe the vice chancellor of the school, people that are more focused on academics, right? So I don't know if guys like that can run a gym, right? So it will be down to who he gets to run the project for him here and what passion do they have. There's guys that I know in Nigeria, even you guys as well, they're passionate, they're very passionate about MMA, and those kind of guys, if they're in charge of those kind of things, their passion will shine through because even the financing as well. I don't know who's going to finance the continuous, the continuous management of the gym. Is it Unilag that's financing it? Is it Usman that's financing it? Those are things that we can't answer right now. We have to see how it plays out. So it's going to be very tricky for it to play out going forward. We'll see.
Okay. Okay, well, we just hope for the best. Well, it's a very, very welcome development. I never thought about it, but if you would ask me, honestly, I feel like this is something that could be a genuine window for Nigerians. So here's the thing: Nigerians do love football, for example, soccer, as Americans call it. And whenever they hear that there is a scout in this uni or there is a link from this uni to go out and play football, probably play in Europe, they would flock into getting admissions into those uni and give their all so they can actually do go to these places. So I kind of feel like maybe this would actually, if there's actually a solid program and that solid program has a linkage between here and say maybe MMA promotions like UFC, Bellator or whatever, maybe that would motivate young Nigerians into getting admitted into those universities, or in this sense Unilag, so they'll probably get a linkage and they will get into the studio, into the gyms and actually work their asses off. I feel AKO has a big part to play in this. Whereas if people actually go to the gym and train, they would actually have a pro MMA that would probably be broadcasted on TV or whatever to go and actually showcase their skills. So I feel like MMA, AKO, and the gym, they would have to go hand in hand. Well, for Kamaru Usman, who I would say he doesn't really owe us too much. I'll commend him for the efforts that he has made in trying to well, we don't know the how deep the collaboration is between him and the AKO guys. He always says his partners, right? He always says his partners, and then we know that AKO existed before Kamaru Usman came to put his hand in. I don't know who are these the same partners that these partners that he's saying, are they the same people that were running season one of AKO? Are they?
No,
Why is like your connection broke? When I said that they the same people, you were about to say something, then it broke. What did you say?
they are the same people. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, okay, so they are the same guys. So well, if they are indeed the same guys, those guys seem like they are passionate about the sport. In Even though we have a lot of questions about the season one of AKO, they have announced that they will do season two, which sounds like they don't intend on doing monthly shows or weekly shows. They want to do the series, the reality TV.
The top star
Yeah, yeah.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyways, that's my 2 cents about the whole thing. And shout out to Kamaru Usman. And
Shout out to him, man. Listen,
mhm.
we're happy that he's coming here, and we hope that other African and Nigerian fighters can come as well. I hope that he can motivate everybody to come back, and because at the end of the day, no matter what we say about how like the long term effects or whatever, I think him coming to Nigeria and starting something is very, very incredible, and just being part of those things at this stage, no matter whether he knows or he doesn't know the advice or whatever, the fact that he has come here and he has done it, that's is a big, big, big jump for us. So, we hope that more people can be motivated to come back like this.
Okay, so before we turn another page, I would just quickly talk to you about your experience, because I know you were there at the Face Off Fight Night last week. I think this time last week you were there shouting to the top of your lungs, basically by cage side. So, what would you say was the experience? Maybe I would say you've been in an MMA fight before when you were in the America or in Canada. So compared to the atmosphere in Continental Hotel in Lagos, what would you say the atmosphere was like? Although we know Nigerians are not very MMA smart, but did you think like they understood what was going on? How would you say the experience was?
I think the people were very engaged, surprisingly. Were very engaged. Surprisingly engaged. Like they were like cheering. They enjoyed the wrestling. Surprisingly, like when it was like they was cheering for takedowns constantly. Like when there was a takedown, they would cheer. But I feel like people saw it as more of, you know how if you see like a, I don't want to call it a freak show, something you've not seen before that is exciting to you. Like they were just like two men fighting live. It's always exciting to see, whether you're a fan or you're not a fan. But I think people were very engaged. Surprised, people were very into like the fights. Um, very good atmosphere. The fights were actually very solid quality. Like those guys have good skills. Obviously, they can develop more over time, but they have very good skills. And it was a good showcase, man. And the production was very good. I saw the live stream wasn't the best, but it was solid. And at least I could see the fight at least on the live stream because I saw the live stream before I left the house. But the live event, the production of the live event was very, very solid. There was, as usual, for a first event like that, there was one or two mishaps that could have been better. But yes.
Okay. Okay, so but you were there, and then there is this tweet that you had that got popular before the event. So it was before the event you were trying to get a ticket to go to the show, and you tweeted that the ticket cost for over 100,000 naira for one ticket, basically 100,000 naira for one ticket. That was the lowest you saw. So
Right.
so what do you also complained about, you were not very happy about the how expensive the ticket was. Do you still share the same sentiment of how expensive the ticket was? Are you still would you say you still complained about that?
Of course I do. A lot of people that came to that event were guests. You could tell they were guests. I don't think that a lot of people actually paid that money to come to the event. Um, I think a lot of those guys were guests and they were like celebrities that came because of Usman and things like that. So the price, bro, even at that price, like even if you convert it to dollars, even with our bad Nigerian currency exchange, nobody pays $200 or $150, $180 for a ticket. Like average person doesn't pay that money for UFC fights. And UFC is a major promotion with superstar athletes. These are guys that are unknown. It's first time. You can't charge that kind of money in the country where people are making 30,000 naira minimum wage, per month. 100,000 naira is too much. It's too much. And we're giving out like, I think the tickets came with like free food, all this good stuff, which is, listen, man, I still feel the same way I feel about the tickets. They have to. And again, like I said, I watch a lot of boxing events. Like when I go to boxing fights, I pay 1,000 naira for a ticket. Like I went to like 4 or 5 events of boxing. This when I've been down here, and the tickets are 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, affordable. The regular people can come and watch. You know what I'm saying? These guys, their families. I don't think their families could have come and watched them fight because they can't buy. The guys that are fighting, the fighters cannot buy those tickets and come and watch. I mean, their families can buy those tickets and watch them fight. So, like, who are you targeting? Is a sport that how much are they paying the fighters for them to charge 100,000? So like the price point was too high, but I feel like they were targeting a very high-end celebrity audience because maybe they want to attract new sponsors and things like that. So maybe that's what the plan was.
Okay, so but when we posted when we posted your
tweet,
tweet, when we posted your tweet on our page, in the comment section, somebody said that due to the fact that the stream is free, you understand, there's a free live stream, and probably the venue being small, they probably just thought they should just max out the ticket price so they could have enough people in there, and also people at home that didn't get to come to the show can actually watch live. What would you say when there's that counter argument?
listen, man, people will have come. Like if you say YouTube, if you saw the YouTube live stream, because I was there early as well in the beginning, a lot of people were commenting on how they wanted to come to the event fight itself, and they could not pay the ticket price. So it was clear that the money was too much, right? Secondly, like you have to understand what it is. You are showcasing something like first time in Africa. Is that you can't make money on first event anyway, right? Regardless of what you try to do, you can't make money on first event. They already have sponsors. You want people to get into the sport. You want the sport to grow in the country, right? You have the live stream, that's good, but people should be able to come there. The hotel they did it at was a very high level hotel. Like this is one of the most expensive hotels in the country. So even to come there, safe, you have to dress up looking nice because like the people look at you somehow when you're coming to that kind of, because when you enter that kind of hotel, you have to look. People they judge you by how you look because it's a high class hotel, right? And that's why they did the event. So it was clearly targeted towards high brow people, right? Which you have to push towards the average. I mean, the average regular Nigerian being.
Okay. So piggyback on what you said about getting access into the hotel.
Sorry, by the way, remember that in Nigeria, a lot of people can't afford to stream.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. So to piggyback on how to get access into the venue, I do remember that you were on a mission to meet Kamaru Usman, and you were on a mission onto the fact that you were even added to the list of the media guys there. So even with the fact that you were added onto the media, the list of the media guys, did you easily get access? Or how would you compare it to a regular Nigerian getting access in there?
So first of all, I wasn't even on the list. So I just went there because I know how these events are very tricky. Like that. So Will was supposed to get us in and put our name on the list. He said to come at a certain time. I didn't come at that time because I was busy doing something else. So when I got there, my name wasn't on the list. But I just told them, listen, I'm pressed. You know, I just told them I had my camera guy there with me. I said, listen, we're pressed. We're covering the events. We're giving like we're here to give Usman an award, which is you guys' award, and we're also here to cover the event and take pictures for our blog and our website, which are Combat Sports Africa focused, right? So I think I convinced them, and to be fair to them, I think like nobody. The good thing about them and all these events that nobody, you want as much media as you can get. So you have at that event, you have a camera, you are taking pictures, you're going to put it on your page on Instagram or social media. Anything that can give them more visibility, they are open to to supporting. So I think that when we just don't listen, we are doing press. We're not here to get the free tickets. We want to take pictures and cover the event and report on the event. And they were happy to also give Usman the award as well. I think they were convinced to just get the person. So it was two of us that went there.
Okay.
We found our way to get there.
Okay, brilliant. All right, so enough chat about Usman in Nigeria. That was thank you so much, Mario, for sharing the story. But we would also revisit you meeting Usman face to face and shaking his hand. So we would ask you what that feels like some other time. But now we're gonna go straight to the next topic, which is Ngannou versus Gane. We have already spoken about this. Well, we have already spoken about this in our last show last week, me and Farouk. But I would like to hear your take on this fight. I don't want to waste too much time and ask you to tell me what is Ngannou's status of he only has one fight left in his contract, but I just want you to tell me, because this is like a very technical, let's say, styles make fight, right? So these styles, they actually do match. One hit power KO guy versus one of the most technical heavyweights we've ever seen before. So how do you see this fight going? And before and you just round up what you feel about the fight with a prediction.
In my heart of hearts, deep down, I think Gane is going to win a decision. Or is going to have or get a late finish. That's my full feeling. I think Gane, and I said it, and I've been saying it if you go to my Twitter and my history, since I saw Gane fight the first time. First of all, I knew that him and Gane will fight. I just knew that was going to happen, and I knew that Gane is a new type of fighter for that division. I think it take fighters a while to catch up to that kind of style. He doesn't hit a lot. He moves his feet very well. Ngannou is very athletic. Ngannou is very underrated as well. He has, he has good. He's pretty fast, athletic. I think his gas tank is a bit questionable. Ngannou that is. But obviously he has very, very big power. But we've seen, and everybody says they are different fighters, which is not the right. We've seen Gane deal with power from Rosenstruik, who is probably one of the top, maybe 2-3 punchers in that division as well as Derrick Lewis, who fought for this interim title. Both guys have a lot of heavy power. If they catch you, you're going to go to sleep. Ngannou can win I think Ngannou can blast him early because Gane takes maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes to find his range and keep that distance. So I think that if Ngannou can rattle him very early in the fight and just keep coming forward, he can catch him clean before he settles down in the fight, knock him out early, and go home. And I feel like if Ngannou wins this fight, for me, he's in the conversation for being one of the greatest of all time at that division. That's my opinion, because Gane is, in my opinion, already probably the best heavyweight we've seen, skill-wise, in the history of the UFC. So I feel like this fight is the fight that if Ngannou wins this fight, he's top 3 for me, all-time heavyweight. But I think that Gane likely is going to pick him apart and maybe finish him very late in fight. That's if I have to pick, that's what I'll pick. But Ngannou can get it done early. Can't sleep on it. So
okay, so in our live chat here we have Scrap Legends with 2 fists in the air. Shout out Scrap's Legend. We have Grand Swing, peace from your African American brother. Peace to you too, my brother. And we have this guy here. His name is Mohammed Farouk Suleiman. I don't know who that is, but he says, "Will Ngannou stay with the UFC afterwards, regardless the outcome? Do you guys think he will leave the UFC regardless of the outcome?" So, well, we have been seeing people throwing dust, or should I say, people uh that is people. When I say people, I mean Dana White calling Ungannou's bluff, and and his management calling Dana White's bluff on, is he going to sign a new contract? Is he going to be allowed to sign a new contract? All of that. So what do you think? Do you think if Ngannou wins, does he actually walk away from the UFC? Or do you think even if he loses, does he walk away from the UFC?
I think that hmm, I think this is Ngannou's last fight in the UFC, regardless of whether he wins or loses. This is my opinion. But I think that he knows what the stakes are. If he wins the fight, I think he knows the reality of the situation is that he can choose not to fight, right? Nobody don't force him to fight, but I think that he'll be stuck. He won't be able to fight. He won't be able to box or do anything. But I think that if Ngannou wins, I think he'll hold out. I think he'll just sit out until the stream of until the stream of okay, you know what they can do? I just thought about this one right now. I think he'll hold out to the stream of the title, and then he can go. Because I think that if he holds the title, maybe like a year. Once he holds it, he agrees not to, like he doesn't want to defend the belt at all. He will hold out. Then they will get to a point where they will strip him from the title. And I think if they strip him, I'm not sure about this, but I think if they strip him of the title, he'll be free to leave the UFC and do what he wants to do. Because since it's the last fight, because the only reason he's staying now is because he has a champion clause, right? So when you win a fight as a champion, you get an extension automatically to fight one more time, right? So I think that best case for him is I won't say best case for him. Best case for him actually now is for him to win the fight, sit out for a year, get stripped, and move on, right? If he loses the fight, I think that boxing fight that he's trying to target becomes less exciting. Because if he loses to Gane in MMA on defeat, I don't know how he'll convince anybody that can beat Tyson Fury or all those guys that are technical boxers at the top of the heavyweight division. So I think that for him to have that boxing, allure, that he has to win this fight, and then it's tricky because he can't fight boxing. In my opinion, I think Ngannou should have just fought for the belt, defended his title 2-3 times, and been cool with Dana, and would have gone to do boxing. But now,
I saw.
I think it's the last fight, regardless.
I saw his recent interview with Brett Okamoto on ESPN. He mentioned that he wants to box. He does not even want to just box. He wants UFC to be involved in the promo of his boxing. So I feel like what he's saying is, in his contract, he wants the boxing and he wants UFC to be fully involved in it so they can share the money, basically. And about him fighting Tyson Fury, even though we know his boxing skills is not as crisp as Tyson, who has been boxing his whole life, it's still something that it's sort of like when the Avengers come together. You understand? It's sort of like Godzilla versus King Kong. It's playing in our heads. What is going to happen? There's that what is going to happen factor in it that makes people want to see that fight. So I feel like even if he wins or he loses and still move into boxing, people would still want to see, does he still carry that knockout power? Can Tyson Fury take his knockout power, or is he going? So there are so many questions, basically. So I feel like, in my own opinion, I feel like he doesn't sound like he's bluffing, and I think UFC don't want to curve to his demands, because other people will come up and ask for demands as well. So, but I think last waiting will happen. Be say he would actually walk away. So that's what I think would happen.
I think the things I've been saying, I don't see Ngannou fighting after this fight in the UFC again. At least not for the next. At least not for a year. At least not for a year.
I think he's somebody
speaking. And the things that
the way he's sounding. Sorry about talking over you. The way he's been sounding, it sounds like he's good with where he's at with money right now, and he's good with just maybe 1 or 2 paydays from boxing. You understand? Because boxing bag is very big. So I feel like
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that he's on. Go on. Sorry. I think he's underestimating the power of being the UFC champion, 2 being in the UFC, and trying to cross promote from the UFC. he's a free agent. It's not the same type of promotion. No. It's not the same. So I think he needs to. I think he needs to worry about. I think it needs to be tricky. Like what is this way he's trying to go is a very tricky. It's a very huge gamble for him. I think that he needs to study the options very well.
All right.
I think for me, I think his best bet is to fight in the UFC. If he wins this fight, if he loses the fight, then he can just he can. Either way, it doesn't matter. He can go. I think it's a different fight if he loses. I think that boxing fight is very tricky if he loses because I think people will lose interest, and I don't know that they will give Ngannou a title fight off of a loss, off of a loss in the UFC. Because if fight with Fury is for the title, that's for the boxing world title, right? That's the WBC titles immediately.
Okay.
Because think about it, the law of this fight is MMA champion and boxing champion are fighting. That's the idea. This one is one league, MMA champion, baddest Spider-Man on the planet in MMA, Spider-Man on the planet in boxing. If they both fight, I mean, if one of them has lost their belt, I think the fight becomes a different type of fight because now there's no, like, the best guy not fighting the best guy in both sports.
All right. Okay. So to just round up this Ngannou's topic, yeah. There is you predicted you gave like 3 different outcomes that you think would happen. So I want you to stick to one, please. Can you tell me your final prediction for Ngannou versus Gane?
Final predictions. I think that truly, if I had to bet, Ngannou is my guy, man. I have the flag with me for Cameroon, but I can't bet against Gane. I just can't. I think Gane is going to win that fight, probably by decision or late TKO. That's my final pick.
All right. Well, if you ask me, last week, we had some very serious African fans in the comment section, and they were disappointed in me because I predicted Gane to win by unanimous decision. And I don't just want it to sound like I'm copying you, but I actually did predict Gane to win by unanimous decision. So maybe it's because I always aim high. But anyways, that's not this. So before we just leave the topic of UFC 270, we're going to quickly talk about Moreno versus Figueiredo 3. Well, so the weight cut in the last 2 fights, the weight cut was a big factor. First fight, the video, I was calling him the video. Figueiredo made weight. In the second fight, he barely made weight, and he looked very weak, which people felt like that was one of the reasons why he did not have a lot of pop when he was fighting. And Moreno won very beautifully. So now this third fight, what is your prediction? How do you see that fight going? Do you think Moreno will retain his title, or do you think Figueiredo is gonna be 2-time flyweight champion?
It's crazy because I've picked against Moreno twice, but every time I picked against Moreno, I knew that because I like Moreno very much, man. Even in the first fight I picked against him, I think he lost that fight slightly, but he won based on he took out the points for I think it was the eye poke or the liver or the blood shot. I can't remember. So he won that fight. They drew that fight. Second fight, I picked Figgy again, but I knew that I wasn't surprised that Moreno did what he did. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that he won, but the way that he won was very surprising to me. I think that Figgy and Figgy has moved to Cejudo's camp now, fight ready MMA. So I know that he's working heavily on the wrestling and things like that. I think Figgy is going to get his belt back, but I will not be surprised if Moreno beats him again. Truly, I think this fight is going to they're going to have a 4th fight. Maybe not back to back like that, but I think that Figgy is going to win this one. There'll be 1-1-1. There'll be 1-1-1. And then at some point again, they're going to fight the 4th time. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay, brilliant. All right, so without any further ado, I think we'll just move away from UFC 270. We've spent a lot of time on it. We're just going to brush real quick. UAE Warriors, they reported that they would do an all-African card, right? An all-African card, but it's going to be in Abu Dhabi. So what do you think about this? Do you think it's good for African MMA? Do you think how do you think we're going to develop, or how should I say, how do you think we're going to benefit from this, and who do you think would be on the card?
I'm happy that for me it's a welcome development. I think that we need more leagues to do things like that. African focused cards. And you think about the UFC does it all the time. If UFC goes to Brazil, they start the card with Brazilian fighters. If they go to Australia, they do the same thing there. So I think this is a good idea. And again, the African fighters need, especially the ones that are trying to move on to the to the UFC and things like that. They need more visibility. And the UAE Warriors, they have a good alliance with the UFC, and they are proper promotion as well. So I think that's good for our fighters. Who would I like to see there? I think the winner of AKO show the first time. I forget his name.
Ndidi.
I know his name is
Ndidi.
in my mind right now.
His name is Ndidi.
Ndidi Alonu. I think Ndidi needs to be on that card. I think Shagun, Machine Gun Sheks, Ogunoiki has to be on that card. Those two guys for sure need to be on the card. I think out of Nigeria, those guys are, in my opinion, probably the best guys that we have now, and they're not very young.
How about the marine boxer Cornell? I'm not sure if you saw his fight when you got to the AKO.
Yeah, you know what? I think to be fair, I think the guys who did that show season 1, maybe the top 5 guys, I think they have a good chance of, I think they should all get the chance to be on that card as well. I think your guy, you guys signed this new guy. I know we're going to get to that in the future. Baba.
Yeah, well, I was going to sneak his name in there for free promo. So yeah, Jabrin Baba, but I've called him the Black Venom. You guys should watch out for him. We are trying to get him on that card as well. So yeah, so how about the guys from South Africa, the guys from EFC, the guys from Angola, Zimbabwe, Congo?
EFC guys, I think well, the first time they went there, it wasn't a good showcase for them, you know what I'm saying? But I guess now there's another all-African card. Obviously, all the champions should need to be there. I don't know that they benefit too much, honestly, because those guys are pretty, like EFC guys are pretty, like they get enough like people know them already. I think the UFC is aware of, because UFC has a good relationship with the EFC as well. I think it's even stronger than the one they have with the UAE Warriors. But I think just for activity's sake, I think Temba Gorimbo needs to go in there again. Forget their names now. Kayemba. All the guys, Kayeba.
This guy, I think there's this guy feels I feel like this guy has already signed with them. This is their former 2-time 2 division champion. Oh gosh. I forgot his name. Farouk will remember, because Farouk likes that guy. Okay. So we'll just leave that real quick. We'll just round up on that. And then the next topic, I believe, which would probably be our final topic, is going to be the UFC welterweight division. Okay, so there have been some matchups in the UFC welterweight division. In the first quarter of 2022, we are going to see some title deciders. We're going to see, finally, we're going to see some activities in the top of the rankings of the welterweights. We have, for a long time coming, Gilbert Burns would fight. No. For a long time coming, Kobe Covington versus Leon versus Masvidal. Oh my God, I'm rambling too much. Jorge Masvidal. Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards, according to Dana White, has not been confirmed officially, but he totally says that's the next fight to make, so we can write that down. We can see Gilbert Burns has verbally agreed to fight with Khamzat Chimaev, and there is one more fight. Where does Bilal Muhammad fit in all of this? Anyways, so what's your take about this? this fight, most especially Masvidal versus Kobe Covington? Are you excited?
First of all, Masvidal dogged Leon Edwards badly, and we must point it out. Because he had the fight signed, he pulled out, and 2 months later he's fighting Kobe Covington. To be fair to him, to both of them, that's a bigger fight. Obviously, they're headlining a pay-per-view. I don't think
that has champions on it.
No. So there's no more champions in that fight. They moved it to April. They moved the championship fight. That's what happened. So what happened was, Volk was fighting in March, but Max got injured, so they moved the card completely to April. And there was open match spot, so they put Masvidal and Kobe there.
Okay, now that makes sense. So no champions on that card.
So it's a bigger fight. It's a fun fight because obviously they were best friends before, and now they're enemies. So it's a good narrative. Like, for me, I can't wait for the press conference for that fight. And usually when we are watching someone like Usman with a rival, you're enjoying the press conference, but you're also like, your heart is in your chest. You're like, damn, Usman cannot lose, blah, 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 blah. This one, we're just having fun because we don't care about any of these guys, personally. So whoever wins, I think Kobe's going to win the fight, but whoever wins, whoever loses, loses. I'm here for the band. I'm here for the violence. let them talk all their shit, let them abuse their mothers. I'm here for everything. I want to have fun. So I'm happy about that fight that they made.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, just to remind you guys, the last 4 fights of those guys were all L to Kamaru Usman.
So they have beat them both twice. And guess what? I tweeted about this like a couple days ago when the fight was announced. I said, listen, whoever wins this fight is going to start campaigning for a title fight again. After they've lost twice. They're going to start saying, oh, I'm the number one contender. I should fight for the title. Delusional. They're both delusional guys. So let's see how it's going.
Well, so the thing is, Usman both went the distance with them and also knocked them out as well. So right now, their argument is who lost better to Kamaru Usman, right? Our guy is busy there.
I can hear you.
I said right now the argument is who lost better to Kamaru Usman.
Who lost better to Usman?
yeah. And with regards to Gilbert Burns and Chimaev seems to be on everybody's prediction of 2022. What do you see in the future of that guy? He has been getting a lot of hype. I don't think I've seen any hype like this since LeBron James came out of high school. The chosen one.
I think that Chimaev is a good matchup in theory for Chimaev. Sorry, for Chimaev. Burns is a good matchup for Chimaev because they're actually very similar in my opinion. I think that they both have, well, maybe not as similar. Chimaev has great wrestling and solid jiu-jitsu. Burns has very great jiu-jitsu, heavy power like Chimaev has power. But I think that I think their tanks are questionable. Time might not tell us what we need to know about Chimaev. Chimaev has, my goal was to see Chimaev fight for 3, 4, 5 rounds. Let me see how his gas holds up for 5 rounds. Right. I don't think we're going to get that in this fight because they are both very explosive guys and they like to finish their fights early. But if Chimaev can beat Burns, I think he's going to fight for the title next. Probably end of this year with Usman, probably. But I think that people should be wary of. See, listen, me, I'm a hype train guy. I like guys that are hyped. I like everybody that's hyped. But yeah, you have to be realistic. Now, yesterday there was Chikazi fought Calvin Keita, and I told everybody, I said, guys, listen, Chikazi is a great fighter, but he has hold in his game, which is gas tank and wrestling. And as you saw yesterday, he struggled with wrestling and he struggled with his gas tank yesterday. So Chimaev is the same thing. You can't give fighters what they haven't earned in the cage. I keep telling guys, this guy is hyped. Yes, he's a great fighter. He has shown us, but he has not fought. He hasn't been tested in some areas. And you can't give him credit for things that I have not seen him do. A guy has all round 1 or round 2 finishes. Never been past 7 minutes of a fight. You can't give him the gas tank that he doesn't have. And the way he fights, very aggressive. So for you to think that he has the gas to fight that type of fighting style for 10, 15 minutes, it's tricky. So we'll see how it goes. And Burns as well is not a guy you should sleep on. Burns can knock anybody out. He has very heavy power, as we saw in the Usman fight. He can sub anybody as well. He has great jiu-jitsu. So this is a fight that I think in many ways you can say it's evenly matched. But like I said, if Chimaev wins that fight, he might win it early. Burns might win it early as well. So I wish they matched Burns up with like a guy like Neil Magny. I think that he's jumping too high too quickly. I wish they give him someone like Magny and they give Burns maybe Leon actually, or even maybe I don't know, maybe somebody else, maybe they give Burns Bilal or something like that. Which, by the way, well, I was going to say Burns, Bilal and Luke should fight, but he fought before. And Bilal Luke locked him out in like 15 seconds or something like that. So I don't know if that's a match that people want to see again. But let's see how it plays out, man. Let's see. I think that people should be careful of Chimaev. I think that we need to see some things that we have not seen yet. But it's obviously a very big prospect.
Okay. I think we should wrap this up. I've kept you on this for so long. I can see some people out there need your attention, bro. Today is a Sunday. You probably will be busy tomorrow. So without any further ado, I would like to appreciate the fact that you entertained to speak to us, and shout out to Yagi as well. Yagi is there struggling with something. Yagi wanted to be on here, guys. Next time we'll have Yagi on. I think Yagi is at the mechanics at this point. So shout out to Farouk. Farouk couldn't be on here because he had to babysit. And well, from me being Aminu Muhammad Jibril from the African Fighters and Mayowa Balogun, Swag Diddy, Combat Sports NG. Well, Mayowa, say your goodbyes, man. Drop your plugs.
Thank you so much. Follow our page, Combat Sports NG, Instagram, Twitter, and go to our website. Listen, we do live picks every week. For all the cards. Happens to our picks. Like I say on the podcast, if you win any money on our picks, you need to pay us our commission. And if you lose, you took the risk, so you can't get the reward without the risk. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for having me on here as usual. We can't wait to see the fights this year and see how everything plays out.
All right, man. Peace. There you go.